Welcome back to the Ultimate Trumpet Podcast. I'm Adam, here with Bella, and today we're getting into something that comes up constantly. What do you actually need to know when you're buying your first professional trumpet?
This is such a great topic because there is so much noise out there. Forum posts, YouTube opinions, your teacher swearing by one brand, your friend swearing by another. It's a lot.
It really is. And most of it isn't wrong exactly, it's just incomplete. So today we want to cut through the clutter and talk about what the specs actually mean and how they affect your playing.
Let's start with bore size, because this is the one that shows up first in every catalog and generates the most arguments online.
Bore size is the internal diameter of the valve section. The two main categories you'll see are medium-large, which is 0.459 inches, and large, which is 0.462 inches. And look, that difference sounds tiny. You're talking about 0.003 of an inch.
But the playing difference is absolutely real. A smaller bore gives you a little more resistance. That resistance actually works in your favor in a lot of situations because it gives you feedback. Slotting feels more secure, the tone tends to be brighter and more focused.
Lead players love it. Commercial players, show orchestra players. That medium-large bore profile often just fits the job naturally.
And the larger bore moves more air, fuller sound, more low-end weight. But here's the thing. It doesn't give you as much back. You have to bring the air consistently and efficiently, or the horn just feels sluggish.
This is the mistake a lot of players make. They assume bigger bore equals more professional or more advanced. That's not it at all. A large bore horn in the hands of someone with developing air support is going to feel like fighting through mud.
The right bore is the one that responds well to how you actually play. So the only way to know is to try both.
Let both horns respond to your air rather than forcing your air to match the horn.
Next up is the bell, and this is where things get really interesting because there are multiple variables stacked on top of each other.
Material first. Yellow brass, roughly 70% copper, 30% zinc, is the standard. It's balanced, it's versatile, and most players go through their entire career on yellow brass without ever feeling limited.
Gold brass pushes the copper content up to around 80%, and you get more warmth, more depth. The tone gets rounder, the upper register can feel slightly cushioned. Orchestra players and jazz players who want a rich singing tone tend to gravitate there.
Rose brass goes even further. 85% copper or higher. Softer, darker, more complex. It's less common, more expensive, and it really rewards a player who has a developed tone concept and knows exactly what they're chasing.
Then there's bell size, which affects projection and spread. Larger bell diameter tends to project more in open acoustic spaces. A smaller diameter focuses the sound, which is great for precision in a tighter acoustic setting.
And seam construction, which I feel like nobody talks about enough. One-piece bells are made from a single sheet of metal, so there are no interruptions in how the metal vibrates. Two-piece bells have a seam where the halves join.
Both can produce excellent instruments, but one-piece construction is generally considered more acoustically pure, which is why you see it on most high-end professional horns.
When you're holding a bell in a shop, you're holding a whole set of design decisions. It's worth taking a moment to appreciate that.
Okay, lead pipe. And I want to spend real time here because this is chronically underrated.
Completely underrated. The lead pipe is the short section of tubing between your mouthpiece receiver and the valve section. It looks like nothing. It is everything.
It shapes how the horn responds from the very first moment of contact. Resistance, intonation tendencies, flexibility, the physical feel of blowing. Two horns that are otherwise identical can feel completely different because of lead pipe design.
The taper, the length, the metal all play a role. A faster taper gives you more resistance and quicker response. A slower taper opens things up.
Here's the practical advice. When you're buying your first pro horn, don't start swapping lead pipes right away. Play the stock setup and really get to know it. If something feels slightly off after real playing time, not just a few minutes in the shop, The lead pipe is often the first variable worth investigating.
Now let's talk valves. Professional valves are not the same as student valves. The tolerances are tighter, the action is faster, the materials are better.
Stainless steel valves hold their tolerances longer under heavy use. Manel valves have been the standard for decades, and you'll find them on many of the most respected instruments ever built.
What you're testing for in the shop is simple: speed, consistency, and return. Depress each valve slowly and check for any binding or wobble. Then move them at full speed and listen for evenness.
A great valve disappears while you're playing. You stop thinking about it entirely.
There's also the top spring versus bottom spring construction debate, which generates a lot of strong opinions. Most players adapt to either without any real trouble. But if you've had hand injuries or your hand geometry is a little unusual, it might be worth exploring whether one feels genuinely better for you.
Please, play the valves before you buy. Do not buy a pro horn without putting your hand on the action.
Now, intonation. Every trumpet has tendencies. There is no perfectly in-tune instrument. The question is whether the horn's tendencies line up with your natural pitch center or work against it.
Your main tuning slide handles overall pitch. Your third valve slide, which needs to move freely and it should have a trigger or ring, is how you correct the natural sharpness that comes up on certain valve combinations.
When you're testing a horn, bring a tuner. Play long tones across the full range. Check the partials that trumpet players deal with universally. The fourth line D, the top of the staff G, the low C sharp. See where the horn naturally wants to sit.
A horn that fights your pitch center will wear you out over time. A horn that aligns with how you naturally hear pitch feels like a collaborator.
Let's talk brand for a second, because this is where players get stuck. There are genuinely respected makers out there. Bach, Yamaha, Schilke, Kahn, King, Getzen, Monet, a handful of European makers, and brand reputation does matter for real practical reasons.
Quality control, parts availability, resale value, technician knowledge. These are real considerations. If your horn needs a repair 10 years from now, you want someone who knows how to service it.
But reputation doesn't tell you whether that specific horn works for your physiology, your sound concept, your musical context. Some players pick up a Bach Stradivarius and feel immediately at home. Others never quite connect with it and thrive on a Yamaha Zeno or a Schilke B1.
The horn has to work for you. Not for the idea of you, not for your teacher's preferences, not for what the forum decided last month.
Let's do a quick rundown of what to ignore when you're shopping, because some things get way more attention than they deserve. Finish, lacquer versus raw brass versus silver plate, effects feel marginally and tone marginally. It does not make a weak player sound strong. Choose what feels good in your hands.
Weight? Heavy bells and weighted components can shift resonance a little and change feel. For a first pro horn, play the stock setup and add experiments later.
Country of manufacture. Well-made instruments come from multiple countries. Judge the horn on what it does, not where it was assembled.
And endorsements. The player in the advertisement has their own mouthpiece, their own setup, their own musical priorities, and possibly a contractual relationship with the manufacturer. Use endorsements as a starting point for research, not a final answer.
After all of that, the spec analysis, the brand research, the opinions, there is one test that actually matters.
Play the horn on real music for an extended period of time.
Not just scales, not just long tones. Play something that sounds like the music you'll actually use this horn for. If you play lead in a big band, blow through some aggressive charts. If you play in a chamber ensemble, play lyrical lines at soft dynamics. If you do both, test both.
The horn that passes that test, that feels like it wants to play the music you're bringing to it, is the right horn. Everything else is preparation for that moment.
Buy the instrument that gets out of the way and lets you play.
So well said. And if you want to dig into more content like this, head over to trumpetstudio.com. That's where all of our articles live and where this episode came from.
If you need the latest practice material, be sure to check out the Ultimate Warm-Up Book for Trumpet and the Ultimate Technical Study for Trumpet. If you're getting ready for the gigging season, don't forget your copy of the Ultimate Wedding Book for Trumpet.
And if you enjoy the podcast, be sure to download the Trumpet Studio. Learn to Play app on the App Store.
Please rate and like us on the App Store. Now go practice.